guys, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jacqui Cooper. I'm with JCooperTravels, and today I have a really special guest. Michael is here, and he and I have a lot of similar things in common, both from interest in travel to just lifestyle perspectives, to college, to you name it. And I'm really excited to talk to Michael because I think he has a story that many should hear, because I have more than one podcast. For those that don't know, I have JCooperTravels, which is stories of inspiration from individuals with a sprinkle of travel on it. But I also have started a new podcast called Cooper Virtual Career Day. And so a lot of the stories end up on that as well. So that way elementary, middle, and high school students can learn more about the variety of career paths that are available to them. And then the other podcast that I have is started with a woman in Scotland called Love Scotland Travel, because of the fact that Scotland has been impacted by COVID, as well as other countries as well. And so we're looking at how we can support the local businesses there, as well as provide some really cool tips and stories when you end up going to travel in Scotland. But today, Michael is here. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here. I'm really grateful that you're on the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Sure. So why don't you, you've done a variety of things. Why don't you share what you're currently doing? And I know that you're also even taking classes and getting certified in other areas because you're a lifelong learner. But why don't you share a little bit about what you're currently doing, and then we'll talk about some of the areas that we both love.
Okay. Currently, I work for a nationwide property management company as a lead concierge at one of their luxury high-rise here in Atlanta. And it's very interesting because every day is different. You have different residents, you have different needs, you have different things that come up that you have to solve. So every day is like a little puzzle and you have to figure out the pieces. I'm kind of suited for that because my background was as a hotel concierge, where there were requests that came to you right and left. You never knew what was going to happen or what people were going to ask for. And the one thing that you always wanted to do is to try and make them happy and give them an experience, because basically that's what you want to do if you're involved in the travel industry.
So tell me more about what a concierge does. You and I have been talking about how it's such a diverse career, and a lot of individuals don't really understand what a concierge does. So help me out here. Explain to people who are listening more about what you do.
Okay, so concierge basically comes from a French term from the Middle Ages, and it means keeper of the keys. So
it's very elegant.
The concierge had the keys. They controlled the candles, they controlled the lights, they controlled everything. They basically were a middle-aged set production, like a production person. So people get intimidated by the term concierge. Concierge basically is there to help you make memories and have the most exquisite time you can possibly have. We can acclimate you to the city. We can give you a map. People love to come to us for maps, and concierge love maps. They love walking maps. They like walking tours. They like maps. It's ridiculous. If you get a group of concierge together, I'm a member of a group here called the Concierge Society of Atlanta. And when we get together, they're always talking. They're always passing ideas. What can you do? What have you done? Where have you been? How was it? Like, should I send people there? It's really kind of crazy. You get in that mindset, like, what kind of new experience can I give somebody that they can just be wowed?
That's great. So what kind of background would someone need in order to enter this field?
So hospitality in general, you have to have a love of people and a want to not be a people pleaser, but to go above and beyond to make an experience happen. I know I keep saying to make an experience, but it's you want to have a background in either food and beverage. My background is in fine dining and hospitality. It could be in travel. I know concierge who have come from a deep hotel background where they have spent years and years and years with one of the big hotel companies. And, they've done the rounds. They've been a GM. They've been a director of food and beverage. They've done all these things. And they're like, you know what? If I take this job as a concierge, I can use the depth of my knowledge in all ways, always. So you can come from any background. Like I said, my background, I've done a lot. I went to college in New York. I sold books door to door one summer in Utah. I taught school for a year. I built computers for Texas Instruments. So all of that together like makes you the well-rounded person because you put you into the experience with them.
Does every hotel or resort have a concierge, or is it a certain size that would have that category of profession?
Generally, it's a hotel that really wants to impress a guest, or where a guest would go to impress someone else. It's a level of service, and it can be pricey. But the lovely thing about the world we live in, you can find ways to stay at a five-star resort in any number of ways, from online travel agents, from travel agents in general. There's all kinds of deals out there because a lot of times hotel companies want you to come in and experience, and that makes you into a lifelong customer.
Yep, for sure. How many cities have you lived in?
I have lived, let me think. I lived in about 12 cities
Wow.
in the first 30 years of my life.
Wow.
I'm just in different places. Like it may have been for 3 weeks. It may have been a month. In my 20s, I felt the need to travel all around the United States and see what there was to see because one of my friend's mothers told me, you know what, you're very young. You think you know everything, but you need to get some experience. And the way to do that is to just travel around and learn and meet different people because you will never appreciate what you have or what you gain if you don't see other people's perspectives.
I agree. I mean, both locally as well as globally. I think that we learn a lot when we travel overseas because then we can also appreciate what we have here.
Yeah.
So, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you think is your goal? Because I know you have, like myself, I have my path for a career hasn't been straight. I've kind of got woven, but service has all been woven through it, even though it might have different job titles on top of it. Where do you think you might be in 5 years?
Well, I'm looking at a couple of different things. You mentioned that I was in school and dibbling and dabbing in real estate. Right now, I'm working in a property management company, and I'm trying to see if working for a community association as a manager is where I want to go. I'm exploring getting a BS in business administration to see if I want to do something more corporate. And I recently finished a master's certification from Cornell in revenue management. So that allows me to branch off, especially if I want to stay in hospitality or travel, because that opens up doors at airlines, with rental car companies, with hotels. So, right now I'm seeing myself being positioned to move in a number of different directions because, like you said, I'm a lifelong learner, and I I want to not only just learn things, I want to do it to develop myself, to make me into a more valuable person.
Yep, I definitely understand that. So you have a lot of work interests, but you also have some favorite things that you do outside of work. Can you share what you're doing outside of work as well?
Well, as you know, COVID has put a little bit of a damper on all of that. But thankfully, a lot of the things that I love to do, um, and funny enough, a lot of them were things that I recommended to other people that other concierges recommended to me. Like going to Gibbs Gardens in North Georgia. It's a beautiful place up in the North Georgia mountains. A gentleman purchased, I believe, 500 acres originally, closed them off, and his main business, his primary business, is as a corporate landscaper.
Wow.
Well, he planted the gardens and he opened them up to the public about 20 years ago or so. And you can travel through the gardens, and every 6 weeks, because of all the plantings and things that he's done, it's a completely different experience. There's more things in bloom. There's different things in bloom, um, different vistas, things that you. So that's one of the things. Going camping and taking advantage of the Georgia Department of Natural Resources is another one. I took my soon-to-be 13-year-old to the Okefenokee Swamp in January, and he complained and complained and complained because there was no Wi-Fi, there's no this, and then by the end of it, he was like, "Oh my gosh!" He goes, "We just saw lynx. Do you know that a lynx can go this? It can jump this high, and like you can't run from it. It'll like you can't out climb it. Did you see all those deer?" Like he was just completely captivated. It's always great in order to see like kids learn and like that spark in their eyes.
It's wonderful to see them in a natural environment and have it be other than book application, because that will stick with them a lot more. Um, what's on your bucket, since part of my love is travel, as I know yours is too. Where's on your bucket list of travel places to go once COVID kind of gets relaxed a little bit?
Well, I have always wanted, and I planned years and years and years ago that for my 40th birthday, which was a few years ago, so many years ago that was, it was a few years ago, that I was going to go on a trip of the the Western Pacific Rim. So I wanted to see the great cities like Shanghai and Tokyo, and I wanted to swing through Australia. And in a few years before I reach 50, maybe that'll be my reward to myself is maybe 3 weeks, a month, go and just have a fantastic time and see what I can see and, you know, make that a part of the experience that has built me who I am.
I think that would be great. I know I shared with you the I Go for Less platform, and you had a chance to take a look at some of your bucket list. What did you find when you were looking on there in
Oh my
terms
gosh.
of
I
hotels?
mean, finding beautiful, beautiful five-star properties that, you know, they were just reasonable. I mean, I'm sorry, this is my dog who's just come into the
That's
room. I don't,
okay. That's all right. It's all good.
but um, beautiful hotels. And some rates I saw were just crazy. $84 a night. I was shocked.
Well,
I'm like,
I appreciate your sharing that, because I don't think that people think about the difference between public portals and member only portals. I Go for Less is a free member only portal, so the rates that we can have on that behind the scene prices is because it's not competing with the public side. So and I know I used that portal when I went to China, and also, like you said, found unbelievable prices for both the hotels as well as the excursions. The other thing I'll share is that I think you're right. You probably need at least 3 to 4 weeks to travel to all the places you want. And when I remember being in the breakfast area of the hotel that I was staying at with my daughter, and I was, because when you travel, you talk to a lot of people. And so I was talking to some individuals from the UK, and they were traveling, for 4 weeks without, blinking an eye. And I think
right.
that, you know, when you are going that distance, you know, because it takes a while to hop on a plane and get over there, you want to take advantage of every minute. And, you know, being over there for a number of weeks gives you that flexibility. If you hear of something, that you can hop on a train or hop on a bus and you can go check out something that you never even knew existed. And that's part of the fun of travel, is having that flexibility just to go because you think it will be cool to go check it out.
Well, you know, that's the thing about Americans. We will work all year to get a week away at the beach. Oh my gosh.
It's
Um,
okay. It's all right.
but I've one part of the lovely part of my job is being able to work with foreign tourists who come in, who like, especially British tourists who have weeks and weeks, and they'll come to the United States, and crafting for them, they want to see what's going on in the South. They have their idea of what the South is, and they want to travel around. And the funniest thing to me is like a German tourist came to me one time, and they were like, we're here in Atlanta and we want to see the old part of the city. And I'm like, well, this is Atlanta. There is no old part of the city. It's burned twice, and we love to just build up and up and up. So I can get you along on the Antebellum Trail, the parts that weren't burned by Sherman, and you'll enjoy that. That's all I can give you right now.
You know what I love about you every time I talk is the breadth of your knowledge, the history, you know, you have to know so much about so many different areas in order, like you said, to put the most perfect package together so someone has that memorable experience. That to me is a craft and a skill that I'm really grateful for, because it's something that a lot of people kind of have the pieces, but they don't have the whole breadth. Definitely, I think that the more I learn about you because of everything that you're doing, and then also the profession of the concierge, I have total respect. And now the next time that I go to a hotel, you know, I'll definitely be able to say, thank you so much for what you do, because I had no clue. So any last minute things that you want to share with those that are listening, or even those that are checking out our YouTube channel?
One of the things that I recommend that everyone do if they go somewhere, because you are about travel, you love to travel, immerse yourself in what the locals do.
Yeah.
If you can find a local and ask them, hey, what's a great place to have breakfast? And you will find that sometimes the diviest place in the world has some of the best food. You'll get the best ambiance, and you will be shocked, because it looks like a hole in the wall, but it's a mom and pop place, and that's what they're about. That's what they do. That's what they love. So ask a local. So if you can't find a concierge at your hotel, ask someone at the front desk. Ask the lady or the guy who's cleaning your room. Find one of the managers and say, hey, what is it that you like to do? Like, if you were going out on a Saturday night, you only have one night in Atlanta, what would you do?
It's a great suggestion. Absolutely great suggestion. So guys, remember to subscribe to the podcast as well as to the YouTube channel. And also there's always a box above the podcast or above the YouTube channel. I know you guys, even if you're driving, don't worry, there'll be contact information. So that way you can reach out if you have any questions about becoming a concierge or anything else related to anything that Michael has said or shared. And thank you so much, Michael, for being here. I look forward to talking to you and learning more about your adventures as you take on the world.
It was my pleasure. Thank you again.
Sure.